Good morning, dear students. I have come back to continue the story Oru Manushan by Vaikom Muhammad Bashir. Born in the year of 1908 and died in the year of 1994. As we have begun the story, Oru Manushan means a man or a human being. So here, writer Vaikom Muhammad Bashir himself is narrating an experience which happened in his life. So that is a strange experience he had, that he went to a valley which was 1500 miles away from his native place. There he was working as he was teaching English to migrant laborers, and he has already described the people who live there. The inhabitants who lived in that area were not known the quality of mercy. Their pickpocketing, robbery, murder were daily occurrences. Even though people professionally they were soldiers, but some of them were working as watchmen in the banks and mills and large establishments. Then this, as I Good morning, dear students. I once again welcome you back to Sri Guru Independent PU online classes. So, in last two classes, we have been discussing and understanding the story Oru Manushan by Vaikom Muhammad Bashir. In last class, we had discussed that the story has begun by the narration, first person narration, whereas Vaikom Muhammad Bashir is narrating his own story or his own experience, a strange experience which has happened in his life. So as he has described that he traveled some 1500 miles away from his native place, there he describes the people, the inhabitants who were living in that place were not known the quality of mercy. Murder, robbery, pickpocketing were daily occurrences there. So people traditionally the profession of the people were soldiers, they were soldiers. Some of them were lending money on interest, and remaining people working as watchmen in the banks, mills and in other big establishments or commercial companies. And he says that the people do not know what is mercy. Money is highly valued by them. People were ready to do anything for money, even they were ready to commit murder also. So Vaikom Muhammad Bashir, who stayed there, who hired a small dingy room on a dirty street of that city, his profession was he was teaching English to migrant laborers who were professional soldiers. So to communicate to their families, they need to know writing address in English or writing letter in English. So that he was teaching, so that he was earning some money by teaching English to migrant laborers, sometimes 1 annas or 4 annas. And we came to know that the earning of writer here, total life saving was he earned 14 rupees. That was his life saving, 14 rupees. So daily writer used to sleep night, and he used to wake up at 4 p.m., 4 in the evening, just to avoid his morning tea because he was not able to pay money. So that is the reason that he was, he was sleeping long time, and usually he used to wake up at 4 p.m. in the evening. So one day he woke up as usual at 4 p.m. and he dressed in a suit and he wore shoes. He was looking so handsome. Then when he entered into a restaurant which was full of customers and crowd of people were there, and he ordered 2 chapatis with meat curry and he drank a tea at the end. The bill was 11 annas. The bill was 11 annas. When he was about to pay the bill, when he put his hand in the pocket, his coat pocket, purse was not there, wallet was not there, so that he went to the restaurant keeper and said him that someone has picked my pocket. So that he was profusely sweating. He was surprised and he was not understanding that who picked his wallet. So that he went before the restaurant keeper and requested him that someone has picked his pocket. So that then when he said before the restaurant keeper, he said that don't show this trick in front of me, it won't work here. This won't work here, and you put your money down and go, or else I will gouge your eyes out. I will gouge your eyes out. Gouge means removing something, taking something brutally, hardly, violently. So I will gouge your eyes out. If the restaurant keeper said it that he is going to gouge his eyes out, definitely he takes his eyes out. So in last class we have understood up to here, page number 32. See page number 33. As I said that this is first person narration, so that writer has become character. Here is saying that I looked at the people around me. So when that incident took place, he was afraid. Of course he was afraid because he was not having money to pay. I looked at the people around me. There were many people gathered there because they want to take fun of this fellow. They want to make fun of this man. I did not see even one kind face. They had the look of hungry wolves. Hungry wolves, he says that all the people gathered there looked like hungry wolves. So hungry wolves means here the people were as hungry as the wolves. Means they want to take fun of this man, they want to humiliate him, insult him, they want to ridicule him, so that not even a single face has kindness, mercy. None of those people who gathered there were having kindness, rather all of them looked like hungry wolves. If he said he would gouge my eyes out, he would gouge out. He would gouge them out. So when the restaurant keeper said that he is going to gouge out his eyes, definitely is going to gouge out them, take them out, no doubt. You are sure? I said, let my coach be here. I will go and bring some money. The restaurant keeper laughed again. So then he honestly, sincerely, he told before the owner of the restaurant, he said that let my coat be here, I will go and bring some money to pay the bill. At that time, the restaurant keeper started laughing. So again he laughed at him. He asked me to take off my coat. When he said that he was ready to take off his coat, and he asked him to take off his coat. He asked me to take off my coat. I took off my coat. So here writer took off his coat when he asked. He asked me to take off my shirt, which he was wearing inside, and that shirt also he asked. The restaurant keeper asked the writer here that take off his shirt also. I took off my shirt. Writer took off his shirt. Then he asked me to take off both my shoes. So he was wearing shoes, and he asked him to take off both the shoes. I took off both shoes. So here one by one he done, one by one he did. So restaurant keeper at the beginning asked him to take off his coat, he took off. Next he asked him to take off his shirt he took off. Then he asked him to take off both the shoes. He took both the shoes off. Then finally he asked me to take off my trousers. Trousers means pants which he was wearing. He asked him to take off his trousers also. So now what happens here, at this point, what happens, writer humorously describing this incident right now here, finally asked me to take off my trousers. He asked him to take off his trousers, the pant which he was wearing. So the idea seemed to be strike me, goes my eyes out and send me out naked. Strike means making someone empty or naked, removing. So the plan, writer has understood the plan of the restaurant keeper here. What was his plan? The idea of the restaurant keeper was that writer imagines that the idea of the restaurant keeper was to make him completely naked, stark naked, and taking his eyes out, sending on the streets, sending on road. It is really dangerous. He imagined that. So the idea seemed to be to strike me, goes my eyes out and send me out naked. So he realized what happens in next moment. All of a sudden he imagined that in what dangerous situation he will be very soon. I said I have nothing on underneath. He said that. So he told sincerely before the restaurant keeper that I am wearing nothing inside. I said I have nothing on underneath. I did not wear anything inside. I did not wear anything inside. I have nothing on underneath. Everyone laughed. This is the movement. This is a circumstance where all the others who gathered there started laughing at him. When he said that he was not having anything on underneath, all the gathered people started laughing at him because he became as a, they wanted to take fun of him. Everyone laughed. The restaurant keeper said, I doubt it, you must have something on underneath. So you must have something on underneath. If not, if you are not wearing anything inside, but something is there. This is humorously, comically is describing his situation. So writer himself is telling that when he said that he was not wearing anything inside, then the restaurant keeper said that, oh, if you say, the restaurant keeper said, I doubt you must have something on underneath, repeatedly. So when he said, about 50 people repeated, there must be something on underneath. You understand? So again, the people who gathered there and they wanted to make him fun and humiliate him, insult him. They were repeating the words of the restaurant keeper. Oh, something is there underneath. You are wearing some. If you are not wearing anything inside, but something is there. So this is the way of insulting or humiliating the writer here. So humorously he says this. About 50 people repeated, there must be something on underneath. My hands refused to move. I saw in my imagination a man standing in the crowd, stark naked and without his eyes. Stark naked. Stark naked means completely naked. Stark naked means completely naked. Complete naked. So that he imagined what is going to happen next. So writer imagines that my hands refused to move. He was not able to take off his trousers. He was unwilling to take off his trousers. I saw in my imagination a man standing in the crowd, stark naked and without his eyes. Can you imagine a person? He must have vision to move. He must have eyesight to. So eyes to go here and there. But can you imagine a person? First of all, he was not having anything to completely naked. There is no clothes to cover his body. And next that he was not having eyes to see. That is the most dangerous situation a man will be. So that he imagined that will be the situation of writer. A man standing in the crowd, stark naked and without his eyes. Life was going what William Muhammad Bashir imagines that his life is going to end in such a dangerous way that the man was not wearing anything, completely naked and without eyes. In what danger situation he will be? Oh, in that way, in that manner, his life is going to end. He imagined. Let it end, and for all this, I never mind. Oh, Creator of the world, oh my God. So he is appealing. He is praying God that please show mercy on me, help me. Just make me to get out of this situation, this dangerous situation. So that he started, if my life is going to end in this way, I think nobody is going to rescue me, save me, stop this. So that he started praying to God, let it end, and for all this I never mind, oh Creator of the world. So he started, oh Creator, Almighty, the Creator of the world, unseen power, what we say, God is praying him. He's praying the God, never mind, oh Creator of the world, oh my God, I had nothing to say, everything would end to the satisfaction of all. Here, as he described the people who gathered there, they were looking like hungry wolves, that they want to satisfy themselves by insulting, humiliating, or making fun of this man writer, so that he stood there for all others' satisfaction. So his life is going to end. So that he confirmed that he was pretty sure that very soon his life is going to end, because their intention is to make him complete naked and take his eyes out and send him on the road, and that was his situation. He was imagining and he was afraid, and he was helpless because nobody was there. Even not a single face was having any kindness towards the writer. I began to undo one by one the buttons of the trousers. Then I heard a voice, stop, I shall pay the money. So when that was inevitable, or else he will close his eyes out. So that if he doesn't leave, he doesn't take off his trousers, then they forcefully take off it. So that he started, taking out one by one buttons. He began to undo one by one his buttons of trousers buttons. Then all of a sudden he heard a voice from behind. So that the person, someone shouted, someone said that, stop, I shall pay the money. Someone shouted, someone uttered that stop, I shall pay the money. Everyone turned in the direction of the voice. All the people who were watching him as an entertainment, he has become an entertainment thing there, and all the people who looked like hungry wolves, they were observing this man who was removing buttons of his trouser one by one. They heard a voice, stop, I shall pay the money. All the people who gathered there turned their attention towards the man who said this. Everyone turned in the direction of voice. The voice which has come from in which direction? All the people turned towards that. There stood a fair, complex-eyed man, 6 foot tall, with a red turban and white trousers. Now he describes the person who said that, stop, I shall pay the money. Now he describes the appearance of the person who said this. He was a complex-eyed man. Complex-eyed man is body physically that, which looks cool and hot and, mixture, different appearance in a single personality. That a complex-eyed man, he was so tall, 6 foot tall, and with red turban and white trousers. Turban means which a head covering cloth. He was wearing head covering clothes around his head, and he was wearing white trousers. This is the appearance of the man who rescues the writer. He spotted a handlebar mustache and blue eyes. He had thick mustaches and his eyes were blue. So this is the physical appearance of the person who came to save writer here. So who was he? He was a complex-eyed man, 6 foot tall, and he was wearing red turban and white trousers. thick mustaches, and his eyes were blue. Blue eyes were quite common at this place. He came forward and asked the restaurant keeper, how much did you say it was? And he asked the restaurant keeper that how much did you say it was? Repeat me that how much, what was the bill that the person has to pay? Tell me, I will pay. How much did you say it was? 11 annas. Restaurant keeper said that it was 11 annas. 11 annas was the bill he has to pay. He paid the amount. He turned to me and said, put on your clothes. So when already he has removed, he took off his coat and shirt, and he took off his shoes, and he was about to take off his trousers. At that time he stopped, and then he asked him to, after paying 11 annas bill, he asked the man who was 6 foot tall, asked the writer to wear his clothes, put on his clothes. He paid the amount. He turned to me and said, put on your clothes. He asked him to wear his clothes. I put them on. Again he wore them. He wore the shirt and shoes and coat. Come, he called me. I went with him. Did I have words to express my gratitude? Now, he did not even think, he could not imagine, because all the people who were gathered in that restaurant looked like hungry wolves. Among them there emerged a man, came a man. He was so kind. The writer thinks that his words will be not sufficient to pay his gratitude, submit his gratitude to the man who rescued him. Because he escaped, he just come out from that dangerous situation. Who saved him? The man. Now he says that did I have words to express my gratitude? He questions that I have no words to express. My words cannot pay the gratitude of that person. I cannot say my gratitude to him by words. I told him, you have done a great deed. I have not seen a finer man. So as he had already realized in the beginning that all the people were very cruel, mean people, they were ready to do anything for money. In that, among those people, he saw one of the finer man, one of the best person there. You have done a great deed. You have helped me a lot. You have done a great job, so that I have not seen a finer man. I have not come across a man who is finer than you. So you are the finest and finer man. He laughed. The person who saved him, rescued him, he laughed. What's your name? He asked. I told him my name and where I came from. So the man, he asked the writer, Welcome Muhammad Bashir, that what's your name, from where you have come from? Then the writer told his name, and he said that from where he has come from. So that his name was so and so, and he came from so and so place, and he told in front of him. I asked the man his name. He said, I have no name. Now what happened? Writer asked him back that what is your name? What was his name? He asked him. He said that I have no name. I am an anonymous. I don't have any name. I have no name at all. I said, in that case, mercy must be your name. As I said that he wants to give name to this man. When the man said that he has no name, and the writer wanted to give him his name as Mercy. In that case, if you don't have any name, I can say that your name must be Mercy. Because among the merciless people, among the people who were ready to insult him, who looked like hungry wolves, they do not know the quality of mercy. Among them you came and you saved me, that I thank God, but your name is Mercy. Your name must be Mercy. He gave him a name that is Mercy. Then he did not laugh at that. He walked on until reached a desert bridge. So he put his hand on his shoulder and he took him somewhere. Both of them were walking, and they reached on outskirts of the city on a deserted bridge. There both of them reached. He did not laugh at that. He walked on until we reached a desert bridge. When he gave him name as a Mercy, he did not respond or he did not laugh at him. Rather, both of them walked towards or out of the city and outskirts of the city. There instruction he is giving him that now look here and listen carefully what I tell you, what I say. He looked all around. Both of them, he looked, doubtfully that whether somebody is observing, whether someone is noticing them. And he looked all around, there was no one was there, and no one was observing them. Then, look, you must go away without turning round. You should go without turning. You should go from this place without turning back, without turning around. You should move on. If anyone asks you whether you have seen me, you must say no. So he is giving him instruction that look here. That now you leave this place, go ahead, but without turning back you should go, you should move forward. But if someone asks you that whether you have seen me, you must tell them that you did not, you haven't seen me. So that's what he gave him a warning or an instruction. If anyone asks you whether you have seen me, you must say no. I understood, he said that I understood what his instruction he understood. He took out from his various pockets about 5 wallets, 5 among them was mine. So when he gave him an instruction and later he took out some wallets, purses from his different packets, then he kept before the writer here. He took out from his various pockets about 5 wallets. Now not only his pocket his wallet he picked up, more than his. So he has picked so many wallets from different people there, and there were 5 wallets he had, total 5 wallets he had. 5 among them was mine. His wallet was also there with him, which he picked. Which one of these is yours? Now he offered him and he kept before him. See which is yours in this, take it. I pointed to my wallet. Now wallet means a purse where we keep money. So I pointed to my wallet. Now he shown that he pointed towards the wallet which was his, and he said that is mine. Open it. So that he gave him and he asked him to open that wallet. Open it. I opened it. My money was there intact. I put it in my pocket. He told me, when the writer, he was, as we have already come to know that his life saving was 14 rupees, he kept that money in his wallet, and when this man, stranger, asked him to open it, he doubtfully opened that whether his money was there. In fact, money was there. What money he kept? 14 rupees. Money was there intact, no one has taken it. I put it in my pocket. Again he put it in his pocket. He told me, go, may God help you. So the stranger told him that, go from here, may God help you. May God bless you, may God help you. I repeated, God help you. So he too repeated him that, he too said the same thing to man that, may God help you too. So he blessed him that, go and God help you, and he too said that, go, so may God help you. He too wished, and he too blessed or wished that, go, God help you. So both of them departed there. The story ended here. What the story tells, you can understand that Oru Manushan means a man, a human being. That Vaika Muhammad Bashir tells that even though the person was, in spite of him, even though he may be pickpocketer, thief, robber, murderer, in spite of these inhuman qualities, human beings are good at their heart in one way. You understand that he was not able to see the humiliation, insult of the writer here. So that he came to save him, rescue him. So that he is telling that a man, a human being. So human beings, sometimes this human being's nature is very strange. So we must always bound with humanity, but sometimes we live inhumanly, we forget our humanity and we show our meanness, cunningness or cruelty, but everybody will be good at their heart. So apart from that is, he was a pickpocketer, but he could not see the situation of the person here and he came and saved. even in pickpocketer, there is a human being, so that everybody is good at their heart. So that Waika Muhammad Bashir narrates the incident which took place in his own life, that is through this story Oru Manushya tries to say that apart from man's some meanness, cruelty, there will be humanity, there will be a man. So that this story on this chapter, there will be in annual exam there will be 5 marks questions. 5 marks will be asked in this chapter. So 1 marks question will be 1 mark question will be 1, and 4 marks question will be 1. Total 5 marks will be asked in this chapter. So that if you remember from the beginning, once again read it and understand the story. That in the first class I narrated outline summary, and in last class I had begun first part of the story, and today we have completed the story Oru Manushyan. This was originally written in Malayalam, and it is translated into English by Abdullah. So it is translated by V. Abdullah. He has given title to this story, A Man. So this is the story Oru Manushyan, which will be it will be asked in 5 marks, 1 marks question 1 and 4 marks question 1. So I hope that you have understood the story Oru Manushyan. So last class till now we have completed around a medicinal, the gentleman of the jungle and the schoolboy. Now Oru Manushyan. Next class we will discuss Babar Ali. Then if I was a tree, then watchman of the lake, and then we have farmer's wife and an old woman, and last one two gentlemen of Verona. As I said that there were earlier there were 13 chapters. 4 chapters have been removed, deleted from the syllabus. What are they? One is Around a Medicinal Creeper, Money Madness, and Frederick Douglass, and Do Not Ask of Me, My Love. So 4 chapters have been deleted from the syllabus. Remaining 9 till now we have discussed 3. In next class we discuss Babar Ali and If I Was a Tree. Thank you.